Old Dominion Monarchs wrapping things up here in the main interview room. We'll start out with student athletes Ahmad Caver and BJ Stith. Their teammates are in the Old Dominion locker room right now for availability for the next 30 minutes. We'll be joined in about 15 minutes by the head coach, Jeff Jones. But for the next 15 minutes, Ahmad and BJ are here to take your questions about the NCAA tournament, about their season, and about anything else that you may want to ask them. First question for Ahmad and BJ. Let's go right down the middle.
Pat Eaton-Robb with the Associated Press. Can both of you just talk about the perspective this season has given this team with what your coach has gone through and how you guys have dealt with that, and then how tough it is maybe to come to practice tired when your coach is doing what he's doing every day?
Ahmad, you first, please, and then BJ.
All right. I think our season and the games we played all reflect off him. There were plenty of times we were down and we could have gave up and gave in as a team, but we just kept fighting. And the same thing he's doing, he's keep fighting and coming in with the same energy. So I think just his reflection of his being strong and staying encouraged and stuff encouraged us to stay the same way.
BJ.
Going off what Miles said, I think that our season symbolizes exactly what Coach Jones and what we've been through this whole year. Coach Jones is not the kind of guy that seeks sympathy. He's shows the work every day. He's the most hardworking dude on the staff. He comes every day with the same intensity, no matter what, and he doesn't let us see him down in any way. So we fight every day and every game for him, knowing that he sacrifices for us, so we sacrifice for him.
Continuing with questions for Ahmad and BJ. If you have a question, raise your hand. We'll send the microphone stewards in your direction. Please remember your name and media outlet before asking your question. Any questions for Ahmad and BJ? Here's one on the left side toward the back.
Ed Miller from the Virginian Pilot. Guys, now that you've had a chance to look at Purdue a little bit on tape, what can you say about them stylistically and personnel-wise, and do they resemble anybody you guys have played this year or recent years?
I guess Purdue is a stereotypical Big Ten team. Play extremely physical. They're big across their front line. They play a lot of the same sets. We've seen a lot of the same sets throughout the year. Of course, they have really good pieces, a really good player in Carson Edwards. But nothing flashy. They don't have anything that we haven't seen before. So playing them will be a challenge, but I think we should be ready.
Yeah, they have a balanced team, even though Carson Edwards is the one that's scoring majority of the points. But they have a lot of sets, and off them sets they have a lot of counters to it. So we have to lock in and never relax when we're on defense. So, it's something that we've seen, but then again, they have a lot of height as well. So we just got to battle.
Continuing with questions for Ahmad and BJ. If you have a question, please raise your hand. Go up front again.
Just a follow-up on my previous question. Obviously an NCAA tournament game is huge for any basketball player. Do you guys have a different perspective on it, though, than maybe other players with what Coach is going through and everything else? Does it mean not less to you guys, but does it put it in perspective a little bit for you guys?
Ahmad first, please, then BJ.
We try to look at it just like a regular tournament game. We know the significance of it, and us being seniors, we want to go out with a bang. So we're going to go to it like any regular tournament game. We're going to give it our all, especially for Coach, because I know he's going to give us his all as he did all year. So we just going to do what we do and then see where the cards may lie.
And just like Ahmad said, we don't talk about it. We don't, make it a point of emphasis. We treat this game just like any other game, or tournament just like any other tournament. Coach Jones doesn't want, all the focus to be on him. He doesn't want us to, approach it any differently because of him. Coach Jones actually shies away from that. He doesn't want any attention. So we just gonna treat it of course, it's special because it's the tournament, but we're going to treat it just like any other tournament.
Continuing with questions for Ahmad and BJ. If you have a question, please raise your hand. Any further questions for Ahmad or BJ? We want to thank Ahmad and BJ for coming down to the main interview room. They're going to head back to the locker room and rejoin their teammates. They'll be available for questions from the media until 5:30. And Coach Jones will be down here in the main interview room in just a few minutes. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Coach. How you doing? Good to see you. Mark Prado, good to see you. Our final news conference of the day features the head coach of the Old Dominion Monarchs, Jeff Jones. We'll ask Coach Jones to give us a few thoughts to open things up. Then we'll take some questions. Coach.
Like pretty much everybody else, we're thrilled to be in the tournament. Our team has done a great job, I think, all year long. We defend. We play a 40-minute game, but I think the thing that we do best is compete. And I have no idea what's going to happen tomorrow, but I'm pretty sure that our guys are going to come out and compete and certainly try to challenge a very good Purdue basketball team.
We'll take questions now for Coach Jones. If you have a question, please raise your hand. We'll send the microphone attendant in your direction. Please remember to state your name and media outlet before you ask your question. First question for Coach Jones. In the center.
Coach, I know this is about your team, but obviously with the fight that you've been waging against cancer, can you just address how that has changed your perspective on this season and how you think it has changed the perspective for your players in terms of, guys looking at what you do and then coming to work every day and knowing what they have to do?
Well, I'll answer the second part of that first. Hopefully it hasn't changed them in a whole lot. I mean, my intention when I went public in September, I wanted to let them know simply because I didn't want them hearing from anyone else. I didn't want them changing anything. I wanted them to have the same experience that they would have had normally. I wanted them to know that I was going to be there for them, that this wasn't going to change anything as far as how I was going to coach or me being there for them. I wanted them to know that I had their back. So hopefully they haven't had to adjust too much. We didn't talk about it a whole lot, and I don't think they probably noticed a whole lot of difference in me, from this year to the year before. I think anytime you have any health issues, it changes your own perspective. And I think that certainly has happened for me, not just pertaining to basketball, but pertaining to all areas of your life. I've been told, I don't know if this is true or not, that I've mellowed out a little bit. The players might disagree. I don't know. But I think there is, if nothing else, there's probably a greater appreciation as you get older, and then throw in the health stuff. I think a greater appreciation just for normal everyday occurrences, and then when you have an achievement, an accomplishment like this for our basketball team, I think it becomes even more special. I certainly appreciate having the opportunity to be here, to bring ODU to the NCAA tournament. Old Dominion has had a great history from a basketball perspective, and there are expectations in Norfolk and Old Dominion. So I think besides just being happy that we made it and we won the Conference USA tournament, I think there's certainly an element of relief to finally to be able to cross that threshold. And then for me on a personal note, because it at times had been a tough year, I think it made it even sweeter.
Continuing with questions for Coach Jones, we have one all the way on the left side of the room.
This is Adam Betts with the Journal-Enquirer. Coach, I don't know if you know this, but of the 8 teams playing in Hartford this week, Old Dominion is the only one that has played a tournament game here in Hartford. So my question is actually 2 parts. Number 1, what were you doing in March of 1985? And 2, what do you need to do to get past the first round this time? I think Old Dominion lost to SMU that year in the first round.
March of 1985, I was an assistant coach at Virginia. In 1985, I'm thinking that wasn't a real good year for us. So we were either done or maybe getting ready for the NIT. I don't know. what do we need to do? Number one, we need to compete like heck. Purdue is an extremely well-coached basketball team. Matt Painter, in my estimation, may be the #1 most underrated college basketball coach out there right now. Year in, year out, he does an outstanding job, and this year is no different. We know they're going to be very well prepared. We've got to be ready for Carson Edwards, but I'm not sure. We'll try to be there. We'll try to make him work and contest. But sometimes when he gets on a roll, there's not a whole lot that you can do. I think our mentality is trying to make sure that he and all the others have to work for everything that they can get. I think the big key, quite honestly, is can we run our offense and make some shots? That in the Conference USA tournament, we were able to hold our 3 opponents to under 60 points. That's not going to happen tomorrow night. We can play great defense, and we're not holding Purdue to 50 points. So that means we've got to score at a greater rate. That's something that's been difficult for us at times this year. We've struggled. I think it's a mischaracterization that say, when people say they look at the scoring and all that and say we want to play at a slow tempo. We want to run every chance that we get. We just want to make sure that we do a great job of having defensive balance in our defensive transition and get back and try to hold the opposition in the half court. So I think the tempo is important. We're not walking the ball down the court. That doesn't help us at all. But we want to try to be opportunistic from an offensive standpoint, and defensively keep doing the things that we've been able to do all year long.
Continuing with questions for Coach Jones. If you have a question, please raise your hand. Back to the middle.
Coach, first of all, what went into your decision to go public with your health issues, and have you thought about not coaching anymore, or is this something that gets your mind off it and something you want to do until you can't anymore, or until you're old, or what's the?
Sometimes I feel pretty old already, so I don't know when that occurs. So initially, I was diagnosed with prostate cancer in 2015. I had radical prostatectomy surgery, followed up by 8 weeks of radiation. I was cancer-free for over a year, and then it came back in the summer of 2017. We monitored it closely, but there was no urgency to start treatment at that point, so the circle of people that knew was very, very small. Basically, it was family and not even all of them. Last summer, the summer of 2018, the cancer began to grow. And so I needed to begin the treatment, and the therapy, the side effects from that therapy were such that there was not going to be a way to keep it private, that it was going to get out. I wanted to control the message. I wanted my players to hear it from me. I wanted friends and family and professional colleagues to hear it from me. So that's basically why I decided to make the announcement. Now, coupled with that, I figured, and my wife was really, really important in this part. I figured if I was going to go through this, kind of given my status as a college basketball, or visibility is probably a better word, as a college basketball coach, that perhaps I could do some good and be in public and bring in awareness to the fight against prostate cancer and trying to prevent, or more importantly, detect early on the onset of prostate cancer, encouraging men over the age of 50 to get their PSA checked, because prostate cancer, while it's a common cancer, it's one that you can control if you detect it early. So trying to bring awareness to that was also kind of a secondary, well, not a secondary, a second goal that was important to me. Coaching future, look, coaching is not just something that I do. I mean, that's who I am. So I have every intention of continuing to coach. The idea of not coaching, the idea of retirement, that's not even on the radar at this point. I think I had heard in our community this year there were people saying, "Oh, this is going to be his last year," and I mean, I guess I understand how stuff like that gets started, but there's absolutely no truth to that. And to be honest, I haven't even looked that far ahead. I mean, I'm pretty good at compartmentalizing and focusing on what's immediately in front of me, and I haven't thought past March for months.
We have time for a few more questions for Coach Jones, if there are any. Up front to the left.
Apologies if you've been asked this already, but just how have you had to manage it physically? I mean, what in terms of just going through treatment and just getting through a day, what is that like for you?
It's not like every day is torture. I mean, most days it's fine. I mean, the side effects, are there. The side effects aren't a whole lot of fun, but there have only been a handful of days where it's really kind of really affected me, and I've very fortunate with my wife being just a great friend and supporter and confidant and helping me through those days. But I think especially knowing that I've got a wonderful coaching staff, guys that I've known for years, and they've been great at picking up the slack. If there's been a day where maybe I just I need to stay at home and not come in the morning. And there haven't been many of those, but when they are, those guys have helped me. So I think having a great support network is how you get through that. And then, I'd be really remiss if I didn't mention, my bosses, Wood Selig and John Broderick, our president, have been explicit in telling me, make sure you take care of yourself, and don't overdo it. And when you've got that kind of support from the people above you, as well as the people that are around you on a daily basis, I won't say it makes it easy, but you can get through it. Everybody has some bad days. I had some of those this year, but we were able to plow on through and obviously be successful.
Any final questions for Coach Jones? Okay, Coach, we want to thank you for coming down to the main interview room. The Old Dominion locker room will be closed shortly, but should be open for just another minute or two if you want to get some last-minute questions in. Coach, good luck tomorrow. We'll see you after the game.
Thank you.